Blasting down both barrels at ultra-violent maximum, blowing out the data synapses of the servo skulls of injustice. We are the careening buckshot of rebellion, 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio. Broadcasting live tonight from Hangar AR-18, basking in the radiating warmth of all of this neon and chrome.
And we are bringing your ears and triple threat of sonic mayhem tonight, Hivers, as Ghosts Have No Morals open for the voltaic duo of Synth Purge, Aether Machina. Get ready to tear the roof off with their signature brand of drum and bass madness. If you aren't here already, get walking. In Hive news, power failures across the Meltranic cooling slabs earlier this week led to toxic levels of ammonia circulating through the Kastenic and Veros districts, sparking widespread riots among thermal climb workers.
These failures might seem minor, but with enough stacked up, it makes you wonder if the Administorum has a much wider maintenance problem. Although all this ticker paper makes up soaking all the vomit a lot easier.
As always, I am your friendly neighborhood plasma fiend, Goblin King, joined by my co-host and Vox-based maniacal madness, the Scream Queen herself, Emmy.
God, Ghosts Have No Morals is so tired of booking these chicken shit gigs.
Yeah, man, they gotta get something real.
And the Kaiser of Cleanliness, the Baron of Dr. Bronner's, it's our very own venomous vigilante, Drew.
We live in hard times right now, and I just like to just be thankful that industrial chemicals can be used for a lot of things, and I'm just happy that we have easy access to them. Thank you. Thank you, science and technology.
At some point, I'm going to run out of ways to say Toxic Avenger without saying Toxic Avenger, and it's going to be all over. Well, guys, if this is one of the first times you've ever listened to us, we have a Patreon. That is at patreon.com/Under the Hive of Madness. If you go over there right now, you will see 3 legacy tiers. The reason that they're legacy tiers is they're only around for a limited amount of time. Each legacy tier is locked at 10 members. Once those 10 members fill up, the non-legacy tier will open, which will not be at $3, $6, or $9. Those will be at $5, $10, or $15. But at $3, $6, or $9 right now on the legacy tier, you can join us and see a video version of the podcast. Plus, we do an entire extra podcast episode weekly that's about an hour long. So you get an extra hour of us chatting at you for, just a little bit, just a couple, for less than the cost of a cup of coffee, right? Because you buy coffee every day, and coffee is like $1 a day. Yeah, so like,
what kind of coffee you getting? I get that.
I get gas station coffee, man. Gas station coffee is like $1.25.
I get nothing but the good stuff from Panera.
Okay,
That's
well,
right.
if you're getting the good stuff from Panera for monthly access to premium content for less than the cost of a cup of coffee.
Wow.
That's right.
I have clearly been doing this wrong.
And, we have a lot of really cool stuff, too. We've got the Innsmouth Hive as a world anvil. We've got some super cool campaigns coming up. We have role-playing stuff. We got dry pallets. We got terrain rollers. You'll have access to some cool STLs coming up. Because more than one of us 3D sculpts, and we're all just a bunch of giant fucking nerds.
Yeah.
And pay us money and come hang out with us.
And all of the money that you guys do give us through Patreon gets essentially just reinvested directly into the show. We improve our audio equipment. We improve our video equipment. We come up with different things we can do for you guys as far as whether or not we can bring you more content, whether or not we can bring you more shows, whether or not we can bring you more merch. We do monthly merch giveaways. That's another thing. But yeah, anyway, join us. But without further ado, that's the way you wrap those up, right? Without further ado, I feel
Without further ado, or you could just kind of go, anyways, heresy.
That's right. The heresy is back. The heresy is strong with us. Welcome to Under the Hive of Madness, episode 119, Horus Heresy, Darkness on the Horizon, part 1. We wrapped up our last set of episodes on the history of the heresy with a focused side quest on the actions of the Knight Errant. who would become the core of the later Grey Knights. Nathan Garrow's actions in recruiting Gavriel Loken take place right around the time we are jumping back into the timeline roll of events of the heresy itself. So if you guys kind of wanted to bookend where this episode is starting, it's starting right about the same time. Events we're talking about today start right about the same time as Nathaniel Garrow arriving on Ishtvan 3 to track down Cerberus, who, as we discussed, is actually Gavriel Loken in, I would say, disguise, but he's not really in disguise. He's mentally blocked, I guess. Like he's put up his own mental wall to not deal with his trauma.
We call it splitting.
Splitting, there you go.
Yeah, he's splitting.
I'm sure there's a Euphoria, the television show on HBO, term to be used for what Loken is doing to himself. That show, I swear to God, all that show is just teenagers trauma bonding. And I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore.
It's a lot.
A lot. It was like 13 Reasons Why I got that way too. At a certain point, I'm like, this is just people trauma bonding.
At a certain point, it's from the beginning. Porn. From the beginning, sir. It's show.
Trauma porn.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Unhoozles.
Yeah, any hoozles.
Indeed. God, sorry. That was so
Midwest?
Millennial of me. Jesus Christ. Painfully millennial, anyhow.
We're all unfortunately there. I saw a meme the other day that was like, every time I heard a boomer say blah blah blah, as a millennial, I would roll my eyes, and now I hear Gen Z say skippity toilets, and I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Skippity
toilet riz.
Ohio toilets. I was like, I had to look up what that meant. Which definitely puts me into the, and it's funny because a couple of the Gen Z people on our Discord have said "okay, boomer" to me before, and I get really offended, and I'm like, nah, it fits. I have no idea what you guys are talking about half the time. I guess it fits.
Yeah, the skippity toilet thing is utterly. There's just no way we could ever be able to understand that.
That's not even Gen Z. That's Gen Alpha. That's the kids that are like in middle school right now.
Yeah,
that are doing this skibbity toilet Rizzler Sigma Ohio.
Is there actually another? Because a generation is like a 15-year period of time, isn't it?
Yeah. So like Gen Z is like 1996 to about 2010. So they're calling the kids that are like born in 2010 or later Gen Alpha.
Okay. But also, let's remember that a generation is a completely made up thing. Like it is not.
That is also true.
Yeah, it's not like a convention of any kind of like social science. It's just something that somebody once said sort of editorially, and it's stuck.
Right.
You know?
And I can attest to that because being the specific age of a geriatric millennial that I am, if the Washington Post wants to talk shit about Gen X, I'm a Gen Xer. And if the Washington Post wants to talk shit about millennials, I'm millennials. I'm like, y'all keep moving that line for your article.
Yeah, like I'm 81, right? That puts me right on the line. So
yeah, you're in the group with me.
Yeah.
It's we're only a year apart.
Yeah.
And I found out last episode that I'm only 364 days. Oh, not last episode, but last episode we all talked. I'm only 364 days older than Rodney Radke, which is not something I ever thought I would know about myself. Ooh. But I found it out anyway. The lead singer of, help me, Emmy. Falling in
Bring
Reverse?
Me the Horizon. It's one of those. Asking Alexandria.
No, that's Danny Warshnaw. That's one of my...
Breaking Benjamin.
Do not confuse those. I'm wearing an Asking Alexandria shirt.
Oh my God, you are. Okay. Sorry. Blackfield Brides, Bring Me the Horizon, Breaking Benjamin. They all sound the same to me.
Breaking Benjamin doesn't make music anymore.
Okay. I don't know.
Not Pierce the Veil. Fuck me. What are they called?
What are they called? Not Blood on the Dance Floor. Because that guy is a piece of shit.
Man, we're a bunch of old people.
Wow. God. I have no idea what the fuck is happening anymore.
It is Falling in Reverse.
Okay,
I just don't listen to any of that generation of rock. Like, I just don't. Really, yeah.
I don't mind Bring Me the Horizon. Well, Asking Alexandria is one of my favorite bands, although they're kind of before that generation. I do listen to Bring Me the Horizon, but I much prefer older Bring Me the Horizon. The new stuff is not quite metalcore, but anyway, that gets into weird genre splits.
I don't know. I like Job for a Cowboy. That's the kind of metalcore I like.
There you go. So yeah, if you guys have been listening to us for a bit of time, you will notice that we are conquering periods of history, and kind of the way that we do it, to explain a little bit about how this Horus Heresy stuff is going to break down with the Darkness on the Horizon series, is we do anywhere between, I'd say, 4 or 5 episodes specifically targeted on the chunk of history we're talking about. And then we kind of break off and do a couple of mental health episodes just so we can kind of get a little bit out of the universe and talk about some of the collaborative storytelling, creative writing, and other wiggity fun stuff we like to talk about. One of them specifically being weird shit that happens in the real world. So we're back in it. We're going to take the next 4 or 5 episodes here to focus on the Horus Heresy again, getting us closer and closer to the Siege of Terra. We keep kind of estimating roughly how many episodes we feel that we have left and just being kind of wildly off. I think at this point we thought we would be done like 3 times over. So we're just going to take it as it comes, because 68 books, some ridiculous number of books have been written about the Horus Heresy.
And they're all like 3 million fucking pages long.
Oh my God, they're all huge. So if anything that we talk about strikes your fancy, you think it'd be a really interesting story to kind of look at, go ahead and Google search the main terms. Essentially, we introduce the event itself. Google search the event itself. You'll probably populate with a book or 2 that deals with it. Go check it out. Go read it. However, if you're just here to kind of get an idea of that history, get a broad scope of that history, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do, if an audio book is 18 hours long, we're trying to take 18 times 70 and reduce it to not whatever that number is.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's a big number. I'm just going to put that out there. It's a lot of hours. We're trying to do it in a lot less hours. With that in mind, let's jump into the Tenebrae mission of 007.M31.
I just want to note, Tenebrae is Latin for dark.
Okay. It's a dark place, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were very subtle with the naming of this one.
Oh, a lot of times that happens. The flatten, the fake Latin, the flatten, that's what I'm calling it, is not always
it's high Gothic, Ryan.
Completely on the nose. I'm sorry, you are correct. I love that the high Gothic is always this like weird like fake Latin word, and then the translation is literally like dog. That means dog. I'm like, but that was 3 words. Dog is 1 word. How does that translate?
Yeah.
So the Tenebrae mission of 007.M31, Tenebrae 9-50 was the designation given to a C-class planetesimal. And a planetesimal is essentially the name given to early formations of rock debris, which can turn into planets.
Okay.
So, very fun
planetoid.
Word. Right. Essentially like a pre-planetoid. But yeah, planetoid is another. I learned a lot of really fun sci-fi jargon sometimes, because I was like, what is a planetesimal?
Yeah, no, I think we call that a planetoid in NASA speaks.
Oh no, planetesimal is a NASA speak word.
Oh really? Okay, yeah. That's a NASA speak word.
So a planetesimal is defined as a formation of rock debris and dust in a disc or circular pattern, which can in fact which has the potential to form into a planetoid, which has the potential to form into a planet.
So a planetesimal is even smaller than a planetoid. Fascinating. Okay.
Just like planet debris, pre-planet debris.
Small, and then before that is planetito. Very little.
Planetito. No. And then before that is Pluto, because So this planetesimal was located in the Octus system. It housed the Tenebrae installation, an asteroid facility used as an Alpha Legion base during the Horus Heresy. Originally, this had been used by the Demiurge for mining operations.
Excuse me, the who?
The Demiurge.
The Demiurge.
Yeah, for mining operations. It also housed an Alpha Legion garrison that utilized a pylon to manipulate the warp in the surrounding systems in order to jam communication from the White Scars, keeping them ignorant of Horus's rebellion and stranding other loyalist troops. The garrison on the Tenebrae installation included 50 legionaries as well as the Geno 7060 Spartacid Imperial Army troops loyal to the Alpha Legion. During the heresy, Omegon dispatched a team led by Sheed Ranko on a suicide mission to destroy the facility, fabricating a claim that it was leaking information to the Legion's enemies. The station was gifted to the Alpha Legion by the Cabal.
Ah, yes, we talked about them.
Those guys.
Sneaky stuff.
And it is suggested that through his actions, Omegon was acting either as a secret loyalist to the Imperium or possibly as a reaction to not knowing who he could trust, including his own twin. After the destruction of the facility, right. After the destruction of the facility, however, the warp calmed and the White Scars and the 915th Expedition Fleet at Chondax received word of Horus's rebellion.
Okay, we will have to do a whole episode on the Demiurge at some point, but it's interesting that they're mentioned this early, sort of.
Yes. So this came out of a novella written in, I want to say, the 2010s.
Okay.
It'll be right at the time where they were trying to soft launch the Demiurge as the new squats, right?
Well, the Demiurge, from what I understand, are a host species of the Tau.
Yes. So that's how they showed up. Originally in the very first play, it was in Battlefield Gothic. There was a Demiurge ship that was a Tau ally ship.
Yeah.
But it was explained that they work for themselves. They're extremely mercantile. They're very industrious. It was like basically they were describing space dwarves. And everyone thought this is how they were going to rebrand squats. And they kind of gave up on that.
And now they kind of both, like the Demiurge and the squats. And actually, we're in a really weird place because we have the Demiurge, we have the squats, because the squats are the original squats still in the Necromunda, which is part of the official universe. Although the only place you can really find them in the galaxy is on Necromunda. And now we've got Leagues of Votann. So we've got like 3 subspecies. And I wonder if what they'll almost do something where they'll be like, these are the different clans of the...
Well, the weird thing with the Demiurge were, the original plan for the Demiurge was that they were not going to be demi-humans. They were
going to be their own thing.
Yeah, their own unique alien race. So they may still just keep doing that. Just the Demiurge are just aliens. They're complete aliens that just happen to have some things in common with dwarves and being like shorter, more squat in stature, having those like proportions. But other than that,
Tau. The end of the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we do know, Emmy, that Alpharius and Omegon do both exist.
Really?
They share, we talked about it in, I want to say, the Cabal episode.
Yeah. Still hasn't convinced me.
They essentially share a soul. So that the question is Omegon a warp created clone or an emperor created clone? So they're not twins as far as like gestational twins. They're legitimately clones of each other. Like Alpharius is the original, Omegon is a clone, but they both exist. It's just in a really weird way, how real Omegon is in question. He exists. How real he is in question, which is a very weird way of stating it.
I want to say warp clone, but also I wouldn't put it past Big E to be like, hey, here's a sick little experiment.
Right.
We're just gonna make one of the Primarch's twins.
Yeah.
They share a legion. So no, that's very interesting.
I prefer to believe that it was that it appeared as an accident and that they were in fact gestational clones, right? That like essentially are gestational twins, that the zygote was developing to a point where if it were to split and it were a superhuman, then it likely would not have been viable. But because it is a Primarch, at the point where it splits, that's the reason why they survive. That's always my head canon.
Instead of being like a in utero eaten twin because it was too weak or not.
Instead they diverged, which does happen.
Or maybe they were planned to be twins, but the warp ate one of the souls.
Yeah, there could be that.
But we'll definitely get into it a little bit deeper when we cover the Alpha Legion from a Legion perspective in the future.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the Battle of Alaxa's Nebula.
Of 007.M31.
Left licking their wounds after their unexpectedly heavy losses during the burning of Prospero, the Space Wolves' Loyalist Legion were ambushed by a sizable Alpha Legion force. Initially sent reeling by the attack, Leman Russ organized an immediate retreat, fleeing to the Alaxa's Nebula. The Alpha Legion then pursued the wolves to the nebula, and the Sons of Russ found themselves completely surrounded and under siege. Russ sent out a distress signal to his nearby brother Primarch Jagatai Khan of the White Scars, who was still mostly unaware of the developing heresy. A message from Horus then reached the White Scars Primarch, claiming that Russ was the traitor, citing the raising of Prospero, and the Great Khan became skeptical as to who he should side with. Eventually, Jagatai Khan decided not to aid Russ, instead setting a course for Prospero to find out the truth of this civil war for himself. Realizing his situation was now hopeless, Russ consigned himself to defeat and locked himself in his private chambers aboard the Hrafnel. During a conversation with Bjorn, Russ came to terms with his past as the Emperor's executioner, realizing it had done nothing but bring ruin upon the Space Wolves. This forced First Captain Gunnar Gunhilt to take command of the Legion, leading a desperate breakout attempt that saw the Wolves facing certain destruction. However, at the climax of the battle, Russ reappeared at the command, moved by the words of Bjorn, and pledging to forge his own path from now on and not simply live as the Emperor's executioner. Reinvigorated, First Captain Gunn sacrificed himself along with his ship Ragnarok in an attempt to destroy the Alpha Legion battleship Delta and allow the wolves to escape. Though the Delta was destroyed, the Alpha Legion was still able to catch up as the Space Wolves' fleet fled. A vicious battle followed in which Leman Russ seemingly battled Alfarius himself, who was disguised as a standard Alpha Legion Terminator. Rescue for the Wolves came from an unexpected source as the Dark Angels' Starfort Chimera, seemingly loyal to Luther, arrived. Having heard Russ's distress signal and determining them as truly loyal with the help of the Dark Angels, the Loyalists were able to force the Alpha Legion to withdraw. Victorious, it is revealed that the Dark Angels contingent under Captain Ormond was completely unaware of the events of the heresy or the crisis erupting on Caliban. Russ informed Ormond and the Dark Angels chapter master Alphalos of the heresy in exchange for men and material. After hearing the news, the Dark Angels commanders led their forces back towards Caliban, while Russ decided to set his course for Terra. So, my conclusion here is that if Space Marines just had phones,
this seems to would solve a lot of the problems.
If there was many problems.
If there was just a group text, like, the heresy wouldn't have happened.
Well, and most of that deals with essentially like the challenges of relativistic communication across space.
Yeah.
Because like these guys are not close enough to each other to like text like
yeah,
very
that's
aptly,
true.
Like they can't just text each other because they're too far away from each other.
And they can't just like up on the Vox channel, like, hey guys, the Horus Heresy, you know, our brother Horus Lupercal Heresy, that happened.
I mean, his last name is Heresy. How did they not see this coming? Exactly. I love that meme, by the way, which always makes me go,
it's the best.
No, no. Part of me is like, no. It's very everything here. You know, when we talk about world building, which we will again, we talk about world building a lot. But one of the things that you talk about in world building is like the building of a empire and how an empire lasts. And one of the big things about lasting empires is they need communication. Like it's a very, very standard thing. And communication, in Rome, for instance, was like roads. There were roads. You could quickly travel from city to city on a road rather than trying to go over land. And this increased their communication, by X amount. In Game of Thrones world and House of the Dragon world, whether or not you follow one of those, they use the ravens all the time. There's all of these like different ways. In Age of Sigmar, they use not ravens, they use crows in Shyish, but they use pigeons in Azor. Is it Azor? I know it's Azorite.
Yeah.
They use pigeons
Azure.
And griffhound, not griffhounds. Anyway, they use birds essentially to communicate. So there's all of these different ways that empires communicate over vast distances. And this is one of these, examples of when the communication breaks down because of a civil war, the information's not getting to everybody. One of the things that's interesting about the Horus Heresy is that a lot of it parallels, probably not unintentionally, because draw from what you know, but a lot of it parallels like kind of the beginning of World War I. Like all of this confusion as to who is allied with who and which brothers. In World War I, it was cousins, which cousins were supposed to be allied with each other. World War I is just cousin fight, by the way.
Yeah, but the Lusitania.
That's right. That's how we got involved. Well, we weren't cousins with anybody involved.
That's also true.
We were the assholes next door that were like, why you guys having a loud party?
Exactly.
Chondax campaign of 007.M31. While the battle was initially waged against the orcs, led by war boss Urlak Uruk, a former follower of the Ulanor war boss Urlak Urg. Those are different. I'm just, it's all about the grunts when you're an orc. In truth, the entire campaign had been orchestrated by Horus himself to keep the White Scars far away from the Imperium's core while he enacted his initial rebellion. Horus did not wish to destroy the White Scars, viewing them as potential allies, and instead sought to distract them at Chondax while his initial plans unfolded. The Chondax system was infested with orcs, and its layout suggested it would take lifetimes of bloody fighting to eradicate them completely. The Great Khan took it in stride and dutifully set about the task of clearing this region of space from the green skin infestation. Unknown to the White Scars, Chondax was also home to many of the Alpha Legion's hidden assets, who were ordered by Horus to keep the Scars busy there for as long as possible. The battle for Chondax began when the Imperial vessels swept aside Orc fleet assets in the area, losing the Imperialis Armada light cruiser Forsworn to the Greenskin borders over Chondax Prime. In retaliation, the White Scars then made planetfall on Chondax Prime, targeting the Orc fortress known as Black Blight with the Legion's Karash Terminator elites. The Karash conducted devastating but surprisingly swift hit-and-run attacks on the Greenskin defensive positions. While their accompanying Imperial Army siege units, the Charnoid Sentinels, were tasked with breaching the fortress's walls. A 6-hour battle followed, with the Orcs eventually breaking and retreating into the forests of Chondax. Despite this early victory, the campaign to root out the Orcs would last 7 more years and see heavy Imperial losses. Notable battles of the campaign included the Battle of Shaln, where Nogi Noyan Khan led a successful eradication effort with the Reconnaissance Marines and Burak's Claws veterans. Though victorious, Nogani himself fell to the Alpha Legion headhunter ambush, orchestrated to appear as if he was executed by orcs. Another significant battle, known as the Themis Massacre, broke out when the White Scars assaulted the gas giant Ephemus, only to be ambushed by the Alpha Legion's forces based on the planet. Pause. Breathe. Taken by complete surprise, the Scars were massacred, and the Alpha Legion triggered volcanic landslides to hide the evidence of the battle. So a couple of things I wanted to go over real quick. We're going to say Khan a lot. Jakatai Khan is the Great Khan. Underneath Jakatai Khan, there are several other Khans who report to him. So each brotherhood reports to a Khan. And Jakatai is the Great Khan, or the Khan of Khans. if that makes sense.
Yes.
So it's not his last name. It's like a title, essentially.
It is 100% a title.
In fact, even with Genghis, it was a title. But
yes.
The other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on, because it's gotten brought up for the first and not last time, were orc snipers.
Oh, yeah.
So orc snipers are a reoccurring, like, weird thing that happens in 40k lore. Usually it's when the Inquisition eliminates somebody and they're like, oh, it must have been those orc snipers, damn orc snipers. But in this case, it was the Alpha Legion.
But that's the thing, is like, I mean, maybe I'm just generalizing here, and maybe there's just some orc players out there that are going to be like, this lady doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. But every single time I played against orcs in tabletop, the idea of an orc sniper is just so ridiculous to me, because they have like the lowest weapon skills and ballistic skills of anybody. And those little green fucks can't aim. And
well, no, I mean, that's that you've hit it on the head. That's where the joke of the orc snipers comes from. Because like, oh, who eliminated? We'll talk about Gorge Vandire at a certain point, and like Gorge Vandire was it. Gorge Vandire wasn't. He was killed by people that we like know of, but somebody in Gorge Vandire's like group of people was eliminated at one point, and they're like, oh, it must have been them orc snipers, which was literally like the Assassinorum showed up and killed the guy. But the Assassinorum isn't going to admit to it. They're like, oh, damn orc snipers.
Yeah.
It would be fun to have an orc sniper unit, though. I want one, like a grot sniper unit with heavy weapon skills or good weapon skills.
No. Yeah, no. It's got to be terrible weapon skills, and there's got to be something about the weapon that does it.
Right, like a targeting squig. That I always love. Like, orcs don't have scopes; they have targeting squigs. I've always loved that. Like, there's a squig that sits on top of the orc's shoulder, and that's why they fire their weapon better, because the squig is like dialed directly into their brain, and they're using the squig's eyesight to shoot.
Man, the squig screams when it sees things.
Is that what happens? It's over there.
Yeah.
But it would be fun to have like a grot sniper unit. That'd be really fun. I kind of want to make one now.
I just feel like they would shoot
I want
garbage.
merch. I need a sticker, Ryan,
that says orc snipers.
If we can get for Patreon, if you join us for $3, $6, or $9 at our legacy tiers
for a limited
time, I really need like a grot sniper team sticker. And I think we should commission somebody to make them, because that would just...
Or like a shirt that says, sorry, boss, I can't come in today. I was eliminated by orc snipers.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, I need like orc snipers aiming badly since, 1983 or whatever, because that would just make me so happy.
I was shot at by an orc sniper, and all I got was this lousy
t-shirt. There we go. We need orc sniper merch, and patrons, we will get it to you. I don't care how, but we will.
So an orc sniper is an orc holding a grot at arm's length, and the grot is throwing hand axes.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
White Scars had received little to no communication from the wider Imperium during the campaign, only reconnecting after the destruction of Tenebrae Station. Jagatai Khan then finally received some garbled astropathic communications. In response, he recalled his forces back to Chondax Prime, triggering a wave of sudden Alpha Legion assaults across the system. Alpha Legion vessels targeted the lone White Scars ships, and Alpha Legionaries wearing the colors of the Scars attacked their allies throughout the region. Only Chondax Prime escaped the Alpha Legion's attacks. Instead, Chondax Prime and the White Scars High Command were assailed by a disinformation campaign. Part of this, as we just talked about, painted Lehman Russ as the renegade who ignited a civil war on Prospero. The messages included direct summons from Horus himself, giving credence to the tale. Simultaneously, however, the Scars received messages from Rogel Dorn that stated Horus had turned against the Emperor on Ishtvan III. As the Great Khan considered this information and his next steps, an Alpha Legion fleet arrived over Chondax Prime. A tense standoff followed, until Jakatai Khan led his fleet from the Sword Storm and skillfully executed a formation known as the Chisel, which smashed a wedge into the Alpha Legion's fleet and allowed their escape. Multiple Alpha Legion ships were destroyed during this brief but very intense void battle. Meanwhile, on Hercon, a White Scar's rear guard of 10,000 strong held off an Alpha Legion armored assault as they attempted withdrawal to their waiting transports. So few frigates were left in orbit that the Scars had to draw lots to determine who would take to space, with most instead choosing to stay behind and fight to the last with the enemy. In the jungles of
Epihelican?
Epihelican, there we go.
Yeah.
Epihelican. In the jungles of Epihelican, the confident Alpha Legion expected no resistance when they were assaulted by a combined force of the Santorian Rams and the White Scars. The Imperials were able to break through and steal several spacecraft from the Alpha Legion and escape. On Femus 4, the Alpha Legion's hidden base was revealed to be one of those of Alfarius's for operations within the system. In response, the White Scars under Ulcanor Khan led a Kashig attack on the base, suspecting its beacon was instrumental to the Alpha Legion's plans. Ulcanor attempted a duel with the Alpha Legion praetor Ciridon Vem, who instead had his men gun down the White Scars Khan. Not good form. Do not gun down the dude who called you out in open combat when you're a Space Marine. That bad form. Bad form, chap. Bad form. On Bifrost, Talisman Khan's forces and the Sisters of Silence under Callistisis, there's a Isis on that one, Callistisis Meravin were overwhelmed by a massive Alpha Legion assault and fought to the last, launching a massive jet bike and Cushing assault into the Alpha Legion's ranks, laughing all the way. The Alpha Legion consul Striga was forced to unleash sorcery upon the Scars to stem the tide, but they were countered by the Sisters of Silence. The Loyalist victory was short-lived as the Alpha Legion cruiser Phi Hecator. Wow.
Phi Hecator.
Phi Hecator appeared in the void over Bifrost and unleashed the hell of orbital bombardment.
Wow, there were some names in here.
Holy shit, were there?
I'm pretty good with the White Scars names because I play them.
Sure, yeah.
Epihelicon, Ciridor
really cool.
Ven.
Yeah, Epihelicon is actually a really cool. I like that quite a bit.
This picture is so fucking great. What are we even looking at here? Sister of Silence.
Striking a bloodline. Thank you. I almost said Blood Fiend. I'm like, wrong game.
That's so cool.
10 minutes of D&D
AI could never replicate this.
Oh my god, some of the artwork that just exists is amazing. Keep artwork in the hands of artists.
Yes.
There's a lot of the White Scar style. That was one of the. I didn't initially think to put it in the notes, but one of the reasons I wanted to mention, like, we're gonna say the word Khan a lot, and it's not Jakatai. It's different people. They're all
again. It's a title. It's a little bit
like the Dalai Lama.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like King. Due to the extreme speed of the White Scars ships, they were able to punch through and then outrun the blockade. The Great Khan's fleet paused at the outlying system of Chondax long enough to rescue rallying forces while also delivering brutal vengeance upon the Alpha Legion. On Femis, Jakatai confronted and slew the Alpha Legion's commander, Ciridon Vem, who before his death stated that he had saved the Scars from the terrors that now gripped the galaxy. The Primarch of the White Scars later encountered the crippled cruiser Hawkstar, which carried the last survivors of Pulsum Khan's forces and exacted a vengeful bombardment on Femis 4. With the Great Khan's stated determination to discover the truth of the mayhem that gripped the galaxy for himself, the White Scars fleet, led by the Swordstorm, slipped into the warp. Ignoring the Space Wolves' pleas for aid in the Alexis Nebula, Jakatai set his sights on Prospero. Mortarion would later remark that something foul had taken place at Chondax, as Horus's original plans were for the Alpha Legion to recruit the White Scars. Instead, either under orders from Alfarius or Omegon, they took overtly hostile actions. avoided any attempt at communication, and kept the White Scars occupied until the White Scars were able to establish communication with Rogel Dorn, who warned them of the heresy. The only reason this message could be delivered was because Omegon had dispatched his Ephraim stealth squads to destroy the pylon blocking White Scar's communication at Tenebrae 9-50. It seemed that the Alpha Legion, or at least elements of it, wished the Scars to remain true to the Emperor. Some scattered groups of White Scars survived and were discovered some 10 years after the conclusion of the heresy. They had continued to wage a solitary war against the Alpha Legion until the Alpha Legion was required to withdraw from the system. So this is one of those weird things where like history just forgot all of these White Scars in this system. And again, like as we cover heresy lore, we're throwing around really big numbers of Space Marines, but I am reading the Beast series again right now.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time of the Beast Awakens, which is not 10,000, which is only about 1,000 years after the end of the heresy, it's a little longer. There are not that many Space Marines left. This is it. This is, 10,000 dudes die on a planet defending it to the last. Okay, well, that's 10 chapters worth of guys just gone.
Yeah. It's weird because we talk about stuff like, well, we think that part of this legion might actually be, traders from X, Y, or Z that sort of got lost. And then you think about how could that possibly happen? But then you can see it here. It's completely plausible. The spaces we're talking about, and there's a distinct possibility that there was a large contingent of one of the trader legions that never got the message, never encountered the stuff that they that the other parts of the legion that led to them turning, and and then what do you do with them?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just flush them down the toilet. You got to send them somewhere.
And the other interesting thing is the revelation that Horus did, and like as a White Scars player, specifically a 30k White Scars player, I'm relatively familiar with a lot of the White Scars specific lore. Horus did not want the Alpha Legion to do this. The Alpha Legion was supposed to turn the White Scars, which kind of leads credence to the whole idea that one half of the Alpha Legion, whether or not it's Alpharius or Omegon, essentially was a loyalist, or was attempting to be a loyalist.
Right.
And whether or not that was under the Cabal's orders, or whether or not that was under fighting the Cabal's orders, or what, we're not really sure. We haven't really revealed. I shouldn't say we're not sure. We haven't revealed yet.
Yes.
But it's all of this conflict, along with some of the things that are about to go down, that show Jagatai, nope, I'm a loyalist boy. I need to be loyal. Like it's these acts that send Jagatai back to Terra to help Dorn in the defense. It's this stuff happening.
Yeah. The second Battle of Prospero, 007.M31. Warmaster Horus had intended to bring the White Scars into the fold using the warrior lodges within the Scars led by Hasek Noyan Khan to take control of the Legion's fleet, before they would join with the Death Guard while Jagatai Khan was investigating Prospero. Traitor forces aboard the Sword Storm led by Hasek and Torgun Khan took control of the bridge, instigating chaos throughout the fleet as small-scale engages erupted throughout. Loyalist Shiban Khan and his Brotherhood of the Storm boarded the Sword Storm using the Sojutsu pattern Void Bikes, with the help of Departamento Munitorum General Ilya Ravalian, who opened a docking bay for them. Shiban led his forces to the Sword Storm's bridge, battling Torgun's Brotherhood of the Moon. Meanwhile, a fleet of 4 Death Guard battleships led by Mortarion himself aboard the Endurance arrived in the Prospero system. As the Death Guard fleet waited to see which way the White Scars would turn, Mortarion teleported to Prospero's surface and attempted to turn the Great Khan himself. Mortarion failed, and the 2 Primarchs and their retinues came to blows. While above, Shiban's efforts on the Swordstorm's bridge were reinforced by Gemulan Noyan Khan, who joined the fight against the conspirators. Loyalists began regaining control of the White Scars fleet as Targatai Yusugi of arrived and had his small fleet of captured traitor ships manned by salamanders and iron hands engage the Death Guards. The void battle caused Mortarion to leave his duel with the Jagatai, knowing his mission had been a failure. The Great Khan was then teleported aboard the Sword Storm, arriving amidst a bloody melee between members of his own legion. His arrival promptly ended the fight, and most of the traitors surrendered to him quickly. With the ship secured, the Primarch of the White Scars then directed his fleet to engage the Death Guard ships. A brief but intense void battle erupted, which only ended when Mortarion withdrew from the system. Interesting.
Yeah. And one of the things that's interesting about the naming conventions of the White Scars is that there are Japanese names, there are Chinese names, and there are Mongolian names, and they're all kind of mixed together. It's very much yeah. And it's weird to wrap your head around because you get kind of into this like mode of, oh, it's got to be all of these like 13th century Mongolian. And then you hit something that's very definitely Japanese inspired, which you did beautifully.
Thank you.
What magic is the Shojutsu? Pattern void bag. What finger motions do I have to make?
What patterns do we
I think you have to hit the Chidori. I think you got to do your Sasuke lightning.
Most men can't find the Chidori. I'm sorry.
It's true.
I'm sorry.
It takes Sasuke a real long time to be able to like hit the Chidori.
I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure it's a myth.
I'm pretty
you think
sure
that most men can't hit the Chidori? Okay.
No, he thinks the Chidori is a myth.
Yeah, the Chidori's not real. It's a trick that feminists came up with to trick us.
That's right. Okay.
Mixing metaphors or mixing Laura forms. I don't know.
I don't know whether to like continue to play along with this info dump about Naruto or just continue to read about the Heresy. So I think we're going to do that.
Heresy.
Let's talk about the ruin of Meriden in 008.m31. All right, we have advanced like a year.
We've finally gotten out of the end of 007 and into the beginning of 008.
Oh my god.
And so you guys know, a lot of our last series was all 007 stuff.
Okay, this is big for us.
Yeah, we're on 008. Woo!
Yeah.
It's still the early years of the Horus. I don't know why they refer to all of this stuff as the early years of the Horus Heresy, because I definitely feel we're in the middle years.
Officially in mid Heresy right now, I think.
It starts in 00. Well, and part of that is like, again, like we talked about this when we talked about how history overlaps itself. History is not this neat thing. So yeah, that in retrospect, we place the beginning of the heresy in 005, 004, 005. So yeah.
Yes.
But like, I guess at the time, for instance, the Chondax campaign we were just talking about, to the White Scars, that was still the Great Crusade. They had no fucking clue the heresy was happening.
Ruin of Meriden, 008.m31. This battle saw the imperial colony world of Meriden on the edge of Segmentum Solar become savagely contested between the loyalists and traitors. Its cities were reduced to flaming ruins, and once verdant plains became barren wastelands, crushed and burned beneath the fury of titans. The loyalist titans of the Legio Graphonicus, Legio Metallica, and Legio Destructor clashed with the traitors of Legio Mortis, Legio Argentum, and Legio Vulturum. This would go down as one of the largest titan battles of the early heresy, with more than 200 god engines clashing as Meriden was left not much more than a shattered world. Both sides incurred heavy losses, and neither could claim true victory. In its aftermath, the burning hatred between the Legios Graphonicus and Mortis intensified. I love me a good Titan battle. I think robots should fight more in Horus Heresy.
Titan fight.
One of the cool things about the local scene is they are in. So we've got a local 30K scene and we've got a local apocalypse scene, and the guys that run the 30K scene, the guys that run the 30K scene and the apocalypse scene are friends with each other. So they've done a couple of Heresy apocalypse games already. They use Heresy figures, but the apocalypse rule set, and just going to the stores and seeing like 10 Warhound Titans take on, like, it's fucking awesome. It's super awesome. It's very fun to watch these just enormous battles happen. And it's not like there isn't one dude who shows up with 10 Warhounds, just to put that out there. It's like 5 or 6 guys all pulling their stuff together, essentially, to do these big Titan battles. And usually like the other side is a bunch of like just Space Marine, which is really cool to see. Chalk and I talked in our episode a couple back about what we would like to see in army expansions, and Chalk had talked about what he wanted to see kind of happen to the Knights army. And one of the things that I think is really cool, and I'd like to see it happen at some point, and it might be something that I try to do, is to build like an Imperial Guard detachment that's just tanks, and have tanks versus Knights or tanks versus Titans battle, because I think that'd be badass.
That's an armor company. That's what we used to call an armor company.
Yeah. There just isn't, I don't think there's a current, and well, the Imperial Guard book isn't out yet, right? Not to date our episode, but at this point in recording in 10th edition, I do not believe the Imperial Guard Codex is out, and I don't think the 9th edition one had an armored maybe they did. I think they did, and it just wasn't good. I can't remember.
It has like infamously been unbalanced for a long time, so I could see them kind of correcting in the wrong way quite easily, you know?
It's also one of those like things that makes me kind of want to play Legio Imperialis, because like you can buy tank companies, like you can just buy a tank, you can literally just field a tank army.
Yeah.
And that would probably be the way to do it, honestly. Like if you wanted to field like 200 tanks versus like 10 Titans, that's the way to do it. It'd be fun as fuck. It'd be really cool. Anyway,
that'd be dope, actually.
The Titan stuff is really cool. I will get into our really rough roadmap is to talk about the Mechanicus when we've concluded our coverage of the Horus Heresy, and at some point after that, relatively close to it, to talk about the Collegia Titanica. And when we talk about the Collegia Titanica, we'll get a lot more into the direct history of the Titans. And then, not to tease too much, but then we're going to talk about the War in Heaven, because man, man, are we all jonesing for some War in Heaven?
That's some of my favorite stuff.
It was interesting. Do you guys listen to Wes Hammer? Do you guys follow Wes Hammer?
Occasionally. Like he'll still pop up, yeah.
Wes did so he has a YouTube show now that's about 30 minutes long. And he did an episode on that where he basically talked about like the problem with Space Marines and the fact that like he loves Space Marines, and we like Space Marines here too. Obviously, we all kind of have our favorite chapters and all that stuff, and we've got stuff that we identify with and really like. But one of the problems, or one of the draws of science fiction, essentially, this was kind of his point, and it's a point that I want to echo, is that one of the draws to science fiction is that we also like our big monsters. We want our big fancy spacemen to fight our big fancy space monsters. That's the draw. The way that Warhammer 40k has been going for a long time is it's just big fancy spacemen versus big fancy spacemen. You know, for instance, you know, for every year that the edition happens, there's about 20 to 30%, it's probably more than that, more models released for Space Marines than for any single other faction. And like when you look at all the other I shouldn't say single faction, all of the other factions. And like that means, so for like every 10 Space Marines that are released, we'll get like one of the other factions will get a model. And it's setting up kind of an unbalanced play style, because a lot more people have Space Marines, because Space Marines it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Space Marines are pushed more, Space Marines are bought more, there's more Space Marine players, there's less opposition players. One of the points that he made in that was the Horus Heresy is a 12-year conflict. We can argue back and forth, but it's roughly a 12-year conflict. There are somewhere over 68 books written about the heresy, and then there is an entire mini series about the Siege of Terra. So if you add all that together, it's way more than 60 books. That's for that 12-year period. The War in Heaven is thousands of years long. I don't think there's more than 2 books written about it.
I know.
And we're going to dig up as much on it as we can because we all have a soft spot for the Necron tier and the old ones and the Slan and
Space Forgs.
Right. Space Forgs. And all sorts of crazy stuff. Anyway, not to tease too much, but Mechanicus faction overview is coming, and then Collegia Titanica, and then at some point after that, War in Heaven. But we're going to get through the rest of the Horus Heresy, and the way that we're going to do that is talking about how the Raven Guard liberated the worlds of Sakratau, Constix 3, and Caradura in 008.m31. Did I butcher any of those names?
All of them. Scarito, Constantix,
didn't I?
Constantix, and Carandiru.
Carandiru. Okay, so Carandiru is a reference to the Candiru, which is a tiny fish that people allege swims up the urethra of men in the Amazon.
Is this the Amazon one that swims up your dick?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, the dick fish, of course.
There's no actual recorded instance of this ever happening.
From what I heard, by the way, at a certain point, was that it swam up any orifice of anybody in the Amazon.
Yeah,
that's
absurd.
fair. It doesn't just like wieners.
Yeah, it likes the urethra and the butt.
It's so the suggestion is it's attracted to the ammonia because ammonia in fish is secreted through their gills, right?
Okay.
And the notion is that they're attracted to the ammonia in your urine, which is how mammals get rid of ammonia. And that, so if you pee in the river, then it swims up your pee hole.
So just don't pee in the water. Got it.
Yeah, but
it's
again,
the Amazon version of don't pee in my pool.
None of this is true.
Right.
None of this is true.
It's like the P-reactive dye that they apparently put in pools, and somebody will talk about the P-reactive dye that's in the public pool, and I'm like, there are way too many kids in there for that to be a real thing.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so I'm going to try not to butcher the names going forward. Under the direct leadership of Corvus Corax, the Raven Guard undertook a series of guerrilla actions in the Segmentum Tempestus against lightly defended traitor targets. Each of these targets offered a strategic value to the Shattered Legion and would prove instrumental in their rebuilding efforts. Having fallen early in the Horus Heresy, the former imperial world of Scaratu had been turned into a prison world by its new masters, the Sons of Horus. Under their yoke, the population suffered heavily. Despite this, and the Sons of Horus's executions of much of its planetary nobility, a resistance movement still managed to materialize, eventually building its strength for a full-scale rebellion against the War Master's troops. When the Raven Guard arrived at Scarito, the uprising was nearing its final stages, and with the help of the 19th Legion, the planet was liberated from the meager occupation force left by the traitors. Once secured, Corax ordered the Astropathic Choir to send out a rallying call to those scattered warriors that still fought in the Emperor's name, allowing the Raven Guard to considerably bolster their forces, drawing more than 300 Astartes of various legions and teaching them the art of guerrilla warfare that made the Raven Guard such a thorn in the traitors' side. The message also reunited the Legion with one of its most esteemed sons, Gareth Arandi, former commander of Corax's own bodyguards, the Shadow Wardens. Did I get that right? That's Gareth, right?
Gareth, yeah.
Yeah, Gareth Arandi?
Arandi?
Yeah, Gareth
it's like
Arandi.
Garrett, but in space.
Yeah, it's space. It's space, Gareth. The Shadow, Gareth Arandi, former commander of Corax's own bodyguards, the Shadow Wardens, who had been believed slain. During his time away from the Legion, Arandi had gathered information on another prison world, Carandiru, which would soon also fall into the sights of the Raven Guard.
I love that That dickfish.
The dickfish.
Yep.
The dickfish planet. With the caribou. You guys are in caribou coffee country, right? Have you ever had caribou coffee?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is it good?
It's not as far east as we are now, but like where I used to live, yes.
Okay, it's totally in my area.
Yeah, it's like a Minnesota thing. It's a Minnesota-based chain.
So it came down.
So they've expanded a little bit into like your area as well. It's pretty good. I would say like their basic latte is not super exciting, but if you're the sort of person who wants like the sugary novelty kind of like iced drinks, Caribou does it right.
Okay.
If you want like some type of frappuccino type of thing,
got you.
They crush it.
Adult milkshake.
There's a little bit of a Cararondu dickfish plug, a caribou coffee plug.
Yes.
The Raven Guard are such a like hit or miss with me. Like I really started to kind of like the Raven Guard during our coverage of Ishtvan 5, but then like the more I got into the Ashen Claws, the more I started to hate Corax specifically. It's so weird. Like I kind of like the Raven Guard, but I kind of dislike the super loyalist Corax Raven Corps. Like,
for sure.
I like the Terran ones because anyway, it's a really weird play. It's weird to be in a position where you're like, I kind of like some of the ideas of this chapter or Legion, but I hate most of the Legion.
Sure. Leadership is toxic as hell in this.
Oh my god, yeah. Corax is probably one of the worst. I mean, the Night Haunter is definitely up there as probably the worst, which is really weird to say. It's not Angron, it's not Mortarion, it's not like they all, even Perturabo, they kind of all made, well, Perturabo's the type of dude that will backhand you for giving you the Perturabo will punish the messenger, so maybe he's not the best either. But I kind of feel like Corax and Kurz are like the worst.
Oh yeah, Kurz is fully just like,
he's Looney Tunes.
It's just for the love of like terror, and he like hangs out in his flesh office, and I don't know. He has like his office is like made of human skin. Like that is not the sign of like a mentally well person. And then like, there's that time, I'm probably giving away too much at this point, but when like they send like the royal assassins after Kurz, he like knows it's happening. He knows he deserves it. And there's this whole part where he's like reckoning with like the corpse that he's dressed up as his father, the emperor. And he's like having a full-on conversation with the corpse he's dressed up as his dead dad, being like, where did it all go wrong? And he's like, I think you know the answer to this, my boy. Like, it started pretty fucking early and it's just kind of derailed since. And he's like, okay, no, that makes sense. I'm gonna sit in my flesh office and wait to be stabbed.
And not because I deserve it, but because if I'm murdered, it will be horrifying to my Legion. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
It'll be so fucking metal to be stabbed.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go sit in my flesh office. Like, oh my god. Like, Conrad Kurz is just so fucked up.
Can you imagine being a like rank and file Night Lord and you have to go into the office to talk to him and you go in and you sit down and he's like, oh, sorry, I was just admiring Fred here.
I just wanted you to approve my PTO, man.
Sir, that's not a god, that's a lamp. I know, I made the lamp out of Fred. What? Can you just sign these? Can you just sign my PTO? Like, why am I here, man?
I was told we get our birthday off. Like, that's what it's like to be a Night Lord.
I took this job because they had a coffee maker in the break room.
It was
robot ones to make some espresso. Yeah.
Are they called Curings and Curings in the 41st in the 31st millennium?
Dr. Pepper Keurig has a chokehold on most of the universe at that point still, yeah.
Yeah, it's a conglomerate with also Snapple.
All restaurants are now Taco Bell.
Oh, God. Okay, guys. In the 41st millennium, do you think that Arizona tea is still 99 cents?
Yes, and the Costco hot dog drink combination.
The Costco hot dog is still $1.50.
Wait, I have just the thing.
Oh, are you gonna wear your?
Is he getting the thing? However,
It's here somewhere.
Since like aeons and aeons and aeons have passed, the exchange rate is just absolutely fucking atrocious. So even though it's still $1.50, $1 is equivalent to like 200 thrones.
That's right.
Love that.
You raise the price, the fucking hot dog, I'll kill you. Yeah, that's the best thing I've ever gotten off TikTok Shop is this Kirkland hot dog combo sweatshirt.
The best would be if it said underneath it, Conrad Kurz. I'll fucking kill you, Conrad.
Kurz. No, I need a sweatshirt that says I'll fucking kill you, and then it's just a direct quote from Conrad. I'll tell Hoodguard when he makes the Night Lord's hoodie to just he tries to do like a motto, you know, of the Legion on the back, but I just need it to have like I'll fucking kill you, Conrad.
I mean, other notable quotes from Conrad Kurz. Actually, skin tastes good. You know.
Oh my god! No, picturing fucking Mike Myers, the character that he plays in Goldmember, where he saves like flakes of his own skin, but instead it's Conrad saving flakes of other people's skin.
That's shit that he would do.
This is a good one. I'm going to save it for later. I'm like,
sir.
Next, Corax turned his attention to Constanix 2. Definitely not Constanix 3.
Not to be confused.
Yeah. Completely different planets.
Right next to each other.
Yeah. Similar names. Very different people. Very different culture. A world whose surface was dominated by an acidic sea with few sizable landmasses versus Constanix 3, which had numerous basic seas and some very small landmasses. As I say, very different.
That's a chemistry joke. I appreciate.
The bulk of the Forge World's wealth came from oceanic dredging, harvesting the bioluminescent bacteria and the associated rich organic material for use in bioforges and biofuel for the manufactoria. With few landmasses to build upon, Constanix 2's population and its Tagmata conclaves were located on vast barge cities, floating edifices borne above the clouds by long-lost technological artifice. Each was ruled by a Mago
Krytarch is what I thought it was.
Mago Krytarch. Yeah, it is Mago Krytarch.
Yeah, that's right. That's
a mouthful. Yeah, that's a common word. Each was ruled by a Mago Krytarch, who paid fealty to Constanix II's Archmagos Delver, with barge cities falling in and out of favor as their prominence waxed and waned. Shortly before the massacre that took place in the Istvan system, the word-bearer's emissary Nathraken approached the Archmagos of Constanix II, offering promises of forbidden knowledge in exchange for swearing fealty to the traitor cause. Pride and a yearning for power was enough to drive Delver into the War Master's arms, for Constanix II was a minor power in the wider galaxy, far overshadowing Constanix 3, which, as we said before, is very different.
And fucking sucks.
And Constanix itself was just, no one talks about it.
Yeah, Constanix 1 is complete bullshit. Anyway, this new order carried with it dreams of Constanix II's ascendant, a challenger in power to the greatest forge worlds of the age. Delver soon began to produce demon engines, which drew the attention of the Raven Guard. After, hey, what are you guys doing over there?
Hey,
are those demon engines? Are those demon engines? Are you guys working on demon engines? Oh,
what did we tell you?
I don't understand, like the way this is presented. Almost it's like it's inferred that they're like doing it behind a hill, hoping nobody looks.
Right.
Fucking demon engine.
I'm sorry. I thought it was clever, but you're right. That is how I wrote it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's. I mean, I'm not suggesting that, but like it also like it just seems like it's kind of like how they present it in the story too. Like you're not alone there.
Anyway. It's like, is this your card? No. Well then, look in your pocket. What the fuck, demon engines?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like again, because of distance here, right? Like you know, they can be doing stuff on this planet and then come back, and essentially, like decades have passed, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" When we left, everything was fine, and when we came back, there are these giant black pits with like black tarts over them, and you say we're not allowed to go in there. What's up with that?
Definitely not demon engines painted on it in white.
It's fine, guys.
Wait, guys,
it's fine.
There's oozing corruption coming out of the pits. Is that
so? When they were on Scarito and Gareth,
Space Garrett.
Space Garrett. And Garathi came back. Gareth came back. Sorry. He was basically like, hey, there's some shady shit going down on Karen Diru. And Korax was like, all right, well, let's go. And like essentially as they're space trucking, they're like, wait a minute, what's going on down there? It's kind of, yeah. Anyway.
So they poke their head out the window and they say, after infiltrating the world in an operation led by Korax, Bran Nev and Agipto Nev, the Raven Guard seized control of the central barge city of Atlas. The Raven Guard was aided by loyalist Mechanicus forces of the Legio Navalis, which led the way with the warlord titan Castor Terminus. Korax soon began a hunt for Archmagos Delver himself, battling first defilers along the way. After defeating the Wordbearer's sorcerer and possessed Chaos Space Marine Azor Nathrakin by throwing him into a warp portal, Korax succeeded in killing Delver. Korax then departed Constanix II, heading for Karen Diru, leaving behind kill teams to aid the ongoing conflict. Aerial duels between opposing barge cities became commonplace, and combat drops proved the sole means of landing ground troops on enemy-held barges. Following months of warfare, the Loyalists gained control of or destroyed the majority of the barge cities, and Constanix II returned to Imperial hands. Constanix II then retreated into isolation from the wider war, only serving Loyalist efforts by acting as a supply hub for the Raven Guard. What a cool fucking setting. Like, could you imagine building this on a table where you'd have a bunch of these barges and have some like you could like roll, could they like randomly like drift and stuff like that? Be so neat.
This would be like if you were to do a Star Wars Squadron style Warhammer 40k game. This is the planet you put it on.
Oh, absolutely.
Guys, ships launching. Imagine a flight sim, but you're flying like lightnings and marauders and all of the things that the Imperial Guard have, and you're just attacking these other barges. It'd be dope.
Dope. Yeah.
So these are the first defilers ever made were made on this planet, which is the defiler being a relatively common what the fuck machine.
It's just my problem with demon engines is I never see them as being something that in my mind is like manufactured or in any way intentional, right? That is just a collision of just wild shit going down,
So what happens in a demon engine is a Dark Mechanicus Magos essentially summons the demon or opens the way for the demon, and then the process is essentially attaching armored plates to it to give it solid form.
Right.
So when they started kind of mass producing them, they would already have like a construct shell, and then the demon would inhabit it, and then they would like finalize it.
That seems very narrow.
Back to our discussion in Patreon of what Indeed used to be like. Can you imagine like Demon Summoner, $13 to $16 an hour plus tips. Must be comfortable with Dark Mechanicus operations. We will train. Some experience preferred, but not required. Canticles of the Omnissiah. We don't do that here. Wave your little sensor around. Summon demons.
Also, even though the Imperium has only admitted the existence of demons for the last 3 years of the Horus Heresy, we are ideally seeking a candidate with at least 25 years of experience in binding iron to demons, and you're paying $16 an hour. Yeah, that seems
right. To $16 an hour. Yeah.
Oh my God. The early days, I know this hasn't gone away at all, but the early days of Indeed were definitely filled with and we're talking 2012, 2013. They'd be seeking competent jQuery JSON scripter, at least 25 years experience. I'm the language came out less than 9 months ago.
Exactly.
And you just knew that somebody in HR was well, if I type these things.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the job was $12.50 an hour. You're no one with 25 years experience in coding is going to do this job for $12.50 an hour. Sorry, brother.
Nope. First conquered during the Great Crusade by Rogel Dorn, which I call him Rugel Dougal.
Rugel Dougal. Well, you're going to talk about Mr. Fabulous himself, so it's only
yes, Rugel Dougal and Fabulous Bile. Here we go. First conquered during the Great Crusade by Rugel Dougal. By the time of the Horus Heresy, the planet had been taken by the sons of Horus, who had then given it over to the machinations of Fabulous Bile. Bile conducted grotesque experiments on the inmates there, mainly targeting loyal Imperial citizens among them, using the improved gene seed code that had been stolen for Horus by the Alpha Legion. What a bunch of dicks. Remember, as we covered a few episodes back, this wasn't the actual gene seed, but just a corrupted copy. With this corrupted coding, Fabius Bile created abominations, although most of his early experiments were short-lived mutations. Some of the enhanced warriors that survived to be useful were made from the Iron Hands, Salamanders, World Eaters, Death Guard, Alpha Legion, Word Bearers, Sons of Horus, and Imperial Fists. Twisted in body and mind, these enhanced warriors exhibit strength and reactions many times greater than standard humans and could surpass even Space Marines. Bile considers his enhanced warriors to be his proudest artistic achievement, christening them as a type of new man. The unsuccessful experiments, however, turned into raving beasts, with even the successfully transformed enhanced warriors being prone to fits of instability. Imagine that.
Yeah, right. Let's just open it up and tinker with it a little bit, boys.
What could go wrong?
It's traumatized. Right? Oh no.
Father, why have you created me?
Father, why? Father, help! Through rumors he had heard and suspicions he harbored, Arendi led the Raven Guard to the prison world during a campaign that would become known as the Day of Vengeance. Corax's plan was to wait for Commander Sukhonu to instigate an uprising among the civilians and inmates of the planet. As chaos gripped the penal world, grippin' and penal, oh my. Sorry, I had to.
No.
Oh my. More Dathan squads landed and seized key power generators, disabling anti-air defenses and cutting enemy communications. Raptors led the main attack, sweeping aside resistance until encountering the enhanced warriors of Bile. The enhanced warriors of Bile, who overwhelmed Corax and his men. In response, Arendi rushed to Corax's aid as the Primarch had been captured by the traitor's new secret weapons, the genetically altered legionaries known as Chief Apothecary Fabius Bile's new men. Arendi's timely arrival saved the Primarch's life. A favor of the Raven Lord turned immediately when he spared Arendi the pain of being crushed to death by the last survivor of the New Men. Having fought side by side in battle and saved each other's lives, trust was rekindled between the Primarch and his former bodyguard after the somewhat despicable means of survival that had been used by Arendi to escape Istvan V. And it's here, on the doorstep of the Battle of Perditus, that we wrap up part 1 of Darkness on the Horizon.
Dum, dum, dum. So yeah, that Arendi essentially like kind of used. We're probably not going to talk about it for a while. So just to touch on it really briefly, Arendi basically used salamanders and iron hands like warriors on Istvan V as like a smoke screen, so he could get on a transport and escape, basically leaving these other guys to die. And Korax found out about it and was like, "Nah, like, come on, dog, that ain't cool." And that, like, of course, Korax didn't exactly do very cool things to get off fucking Istvan V himself. So it was kind of one of those, like, do what I say, not what I do scenarios. So, like, these two guys at this point didn't really trust or like each other. As much as it was a boon to the Raven Guard, kind of like an uplifting moment to the Raven Guard to see Arendi return, it was something that Korax was kind of irritated a little bit by. He wasn't going to throw him into like the Ghoul Stars and be like, hey, go do this. But it was definitely one of those like, nah, dog sort of things. So yeah. So that's our first little episode there on our next series, our next little chunk of the Horus Heresy.
I just want, I don't know. I would like to imagine, I don't know, there's going to be some very cool visuals that go along with the Chondax 2, the water planet, the ocean planet. Like if you have like a full like Imperator Titan there, like in theory, it could be like standing like hip deep in ocean water.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. Super cool.
Yeah. I want a diorama of that.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Throw some resin on a Titan.
Or like the Titan like grabbing onto a ship's hull with its massive power fist, and then like dudes running down the arm and stuff like that.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's so cool.
It'd be really cool. It makes me think of I know that it's over and done with, but Squidmar and Lucas did that Titan battle on. You just did the thing that makes me think of that movie Real Steel with the robot, but Rock'em Sock'em robots. Oh my god. I want Titans that have like weapons all over them for like shooties, but their main weapons are just fists that they use to punch other Titans.
So that's the movie Robot Jocks. Now we're talking about Robot Jocks.
Well, if you want to get into contact with us about this episode or the show itself, you can do that by reaching out to us through email at underthehiveofmadness@gmail.com.
You can also find us on Discord and join the conversation about existing lore, world building, gaming, and much more. You can also find the show on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and YouTube. Check out our website, underthehiveofmadness.com. Check out our link tree to find all sorts of links to keep up with everyone in the cast, hobby progress, and internet meanderings. Links and spelling are in the show notes.
Help the podcast grow by liking and reviewing us wherever you get your podcast fix. Our home is Spotify, but you can find us on Audible, Apple Podcasts, CastBox, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, and more. Support us through the Patreon at www.patreon.com/underthehiveofmadness. Join an awesome crew for access to extra content and a chance to snag some cool merch in our monthly giveaway.
What a face-melting, bone-jarring set from Aether Machina, the duo that continues to define everything it means to be Synth Purge. Check out all of the live shows here at AR18. What a lineup the Splatterhawk OGs have in store for us in the coming months, including the amazing soul-scouring vocals of our very own Scream Queen, Emmy, of Ghosts Don't Have Morals. We are the discordant degenerates of truthiness, your champions in the uncertain frosty cold of long night. 665.66 UHMA Chemrat Radio. Reminding all of you Chemrats, Hive Mice, and Sump Ghoulies to keep those dials fixed. Right here, same ratty frequency for a dose of the same ratty-ass attitude.
In the Innsmouth Underhive, beware the four-armed emperors. They lurk in the deepest shadows where the emperor's light cannot reach. With 4 grasping arms, they snatch the unwary and the lost. Never stray from the light, and keep your charms close, for those taken by the emperors are never seen again.
Fucking epic.
That was so good. Okay.
You and Chalk are gonna have like a voiceover duel now. We're gonna have to be like,
oh hell yeah.
You gotta ham it up a little bit. You gotta bring your A game. And remember, always read a goddamn book. Wait, I can't say goddamn. And remember, always read a motherfucking book. There we go. What?
Goddamn is more offensive than motherfucking book.
Yeah.
Well, but it's also
what I always say.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
it's your catchphrase.
Continuity here. It's continuity.
I don't know if you heard, but we're putting the 10 Commandments back up in schools. The 10 Commandments say, do not take the Lord's name in vain. It says nothing about fucking your mother.
This is 100% true. This is 100% true. You heard it here, folks. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, Ryan.